I've myself asked the Honorable Prime Minister to call for an all-party meeting, and we expect him to lead it. There is a very nice word that is come, which is called the ice. It's not the ice in your iced tea. It's the ice of income tax, CBI and ED. I was ready to go to Chennai for the oath ceremony, all excited to go and celebrate with everybody. I had a lot of friends telling me that Vijay is going to win, and I must admit, I was saying that's impossible. 2014 was his win, clearly. We have to accept it, that we messed up. He was right place, right time, and he gave hope to India. This was the same government, this was the same Devendra Fadnavis, this is the same Modi Sarkar which put Chhagan Bhujbal ji into jail. Today he's in their cabinet. Never thought West Bengal would go through what we never. I mean, 3-time leadership, an assertive leader. Absolutely everybody looked up to her as a tough one. So for seeing West Bengal Trinamool breaking like this, for me is an absolute shock. I mean, there's a limit to injustice. Finally. And that's why we are in court. There has to be something, yaar. Choron ke bhi usool hote hain. We have gone beyond that.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the India Story. Now, we don't spend too much time looking at politics. It's really about how do you fix things and how do you get things moving in India and how do you get reform going. But politics is important in that, and many people say one of the things that does need fixing is you do need to get a political system that's working really well. And there are often questions about where the opposition is in all of this. The opposition not been doing too well since the 2024 general election. Looked really good at that point. After that, seems to have fallen off the cliff a little bit. So where do we go from here? Joining us, veteran opposition leader, Supriya Sule. I think I can call you a veteran by now, working president of the NCP-SP. National opposition, state opposition, we're going to discuss all of that with you. But let me just start with that first question that I asked, that, if you look at the general elections, it looked as if the opposition was riding and doing really well and the BJP was on the back foot. It's all changed very fast in the last couple of years.
Well, I'm amused by the introduction first. I don't know whether it meant...
Which part of it?
I'm very amused because you said veteran opposition leader. So it means veteran means been in opposition for long, veteran or just veteran?
Okay,
no.
Okay. Veteran politician who is in the opposition.
It's all in tongue-in-cheek and funny, because to me, whether you're in power or you are in the opposition, I feel in a democracy, both are equally important for me personally. And it's a lot of responsibility. And there was a time where I don't think we knew how to be in the opposition. And we can't even make it a habit, and nobody should make it a habit. It is. But yes, in 2024, let me tell you very honestly, I can say this, and this is not the first time I'm saying it. I wasn't even sure whether I was going to make it. For the reason that the party had just split, I didn't even have a symbol till 40 days to the election. So my whole point was, how do I tell my voters what my symbol is? I didn't even know whether I was going to get a symbol, or would I have to fight as an independent. So it was quite chaotic, and I think the whole thing to fight was so clear in my mind that I probably, sometimes I feel we underestimate our voters. Because a voter who saw that democracy was in crisis. If you remember, it was Samvidhan khatre mein hai. Everybody in this country felt that if they cross 400, they will change the constitution of India, and it's really going to affect my rights. And that's when people came all out and voted for the India Alliance, because they gave them hope that this is one team which is not going to do that.
So were you also somewhat surprised by the result in 2024? Let's start with that high point and then I'll come to what has happened after
forget
that.
it. Forget surprised about the India Alliance. I was not even sure about myself, because I was fighting against the might of central government, state government, everybody who I had worked with in my last 3 elections was against me.
And your party in particular was one of the highlights, right? I think you won one of the highest strike rates of everyone, 34 seats. What you said was the issue. So I'm going to start with 24 and then come to today. There was a very clear message that the opposition had gone forward with. Samvidhan khatre mein hai. Your rights will be taken away. You can't give them too much power. They're going to misuse that power. They're going to unleash the agencies. Freedom is going to be at risk. Simple message, clear message. Is that the message that you think led to that result of 2024?
Clearly. I think people felt it, and it was not a message that we were giving. The BJP had people who were again and again saying it in several speeches that अब की बार 400 बार बदलेंगे संविधान. This is what the BJP was saying. And people got worried. And let me tell you, it worries me that even if I'm in power, I would like an opposition. There have to be checks and balances, because if we say we are the largest democracy in the world and the most vibrant democracy, how can we live without an opposition? But unfortunately, you are talking about agencies. In Mumbai, there is a very nice word that is come, which is called the ICE. It's not the ice in your iced tea. It's the ICE of income tax, CBI and ED. That's what ICE stands for. And it's heartbreaking for somebody like me for the reason that I still romance idealism. I like to romance thinking that, oh my God, there is this perfect world, and where there can be a little tweaking of issues or a little bit injustice happens in societies. But there has to be some basic formula which has to work. Now, there is no formula working here. Everybody who has got iced, as we say in Mumbai, goes into the BJP or into that system and goes into the washing machine and are all in position of power. And what also worries me, if I take a step back from where I am, is the whole thing of the narrative of 2014 was Congress Mukta Bharat. That we really want to bring in a change, bring in new talent. And maybe, there's nothing wrong. We have to accept that we were defeated by the people of this nation. And of course, we had to look within ourselves. It was not blaming you for our loss. We were doing something wrong. So we needed to introspect. And after that, today when I look back, there are districts after districts in Maharashtra where there is not a single BJP leadership. All Congresses are sitting in the BJP and are decision making. So what changed? Only the symbol changed, no? From a hand, it's gone to the lotus. Everything else remains the same.
I'm going to come to you with some of the ways forward. How do you get the system working a little bit better? But let's come back to the slide that has started. From that time, June 2024, May 2024, when the opposition was suddenly saying, okay, we now know how to raise issues and now there are going to be checks and balances. It started in Maharashtra. Then it's carried on, with a state after state, Bihar, and what's happening right now in West Bengal and in Tamil Nadu. So, are you somewhat shocked by what's happening in West Bengal right now?
Well, I was shocked with what happened in Maharashtra, I must admit, because we didn't expect to do that badly. I can understand it could have been a close fight. I didn't mind a close fight at all, and losing. See, it's an election. You win somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. But at the same time, I was surprised with the Maharashtra election, not because of us losing. It was more about the way we lost. I cannot believe the numbers that came up. I'm not now getting into whether it's the machine or it's... We had to introspect ourselves and say, listen, what went wrong? Were we overconfident? What went wrong? Was it the Ladli Bahin Yojana? We've got into that whole...
Welfare schemes work, but welfare schemes have been there before. I heard those welfare schemes spoken about by the BJP during the 2024 Lok Sabha.
Telangana had so many welfare schemes, but Revant Tanda has become Chief Minister of Telangana. So these were many, many things. And then, of course, after we lost, all the parties were broken. The entire opposition is just broken physically also. Means they just broke our parties. So
is that what's happening with Mamata Banerjee in the DMC?
It is shocking. I never thought West Bengal would go through what we never. 3-time leadership, an assertive leader. Absolutely, everybody looked up to her as a tough one. So for seeing West Bengal Trinamool breaking like this, for me is an absolute shock. As I told you earlier, I like romancing idealism. I always feel, no, theek ho jayega. Yeah, things will get.
Mamata Banerjee might not be the leader of the TMC. Is that something which would really be a denouement that would shock you?
I don't get shocked, I get disappointed, if you know what I mean. Because I just feel that there has to be something, choron ke bhi usool hote, we have gone beyond that. Because there is just no value system, unfortunately, left in that system. And I think we need to put those checks and balances to correct it. And we need to take ownership of it and do something about it as a fraternity itself. It's no point saying that you are responsible. We have to take ownership of ourselves.
Yeah, how you'll fix it, I'll come to. But I mean, if West Bengal was a surprise, was Tamil Nadu an even bigger surprise?
Oh,
But these are all
totally.
the DMK. I mean, people said, okay, West Bengal could be a fight, but no one thought there was going to be a fight in
No,
Tamil Nadu.
I was ready to go to Chennai for the oath ceremony, all excited to go and celebrate with everybody because genuinely, even data, look, data speaks louder than words. Data was showing them as a high performing state. And everybody said that no, Vijay will be take corrective, maybe 10%, 20%. Somebody by the end was saying, no, he's not going beyond 9 seats or 18 seats. And boom, straight, I mean, this is counting. And even now, after that, DMK is breaking, question marks are coming about. See, if all this continues like this, there'll be no opposition left if every opposition party is just broken. And whole thing is, this is against iced. If everybody is iced, how will there be a democracy in this
Your
country?
ICE, the Indian ICE versus the US ICE is an interesting debate. Which
Yes.
Now, Vijay look at you and say, hang on, I'm also opposition. Have you interacted with them before? What do you think of Vijay? Some people are already saying he could be a prime minister in the future.
No. Look, if I first of all, one thing is clear. I never get completely disillusioned by a loss, one. Second, I am very, very hopeful and always, I'm an optimist. So I say, no, things get fixed. We have to find a way to fix it and we have to get there and fix it. But at the same time, what worries me now is that all of us, and it's applicable to every political party, once we have fought in a certain way and when we change our alliances, and the power behind this is not just service, it's some pressure coming from the agencies. That is very, very disappointing because how will you fix the system? Because you can't fight agencies, you can fight parties, but how do you fight agencies?
Okay, the agency point I've underlined and we will talk about it. But okay, let's look at Tamil Nadu, right, where the duopoly is broken. Vijay winning, is it about Vijay? Not because there's not the BJP one out there, so there wouldn't be any agencies out there. What was it in Tamil Nadu?
No,
so
no,
that's a different issue.
I had a lot of friends telling me that Vijay is going to win, and I must admit, I was saying that's impossible. He can spoil either sides. I mean, either he would spoil it for DMK or AIDMK, or he would eat into both their votes. But this kind of victory, I could not believe. People, even from the BJP who went there to campaign, or a lot of our friends were sent. Like West Bengal, I have a lot of friends from Parliament who were put there on duties for months. And they were very clear. And I really accepted with full humility that I was mocking them and they were mocking me. And I said, dream on, buddy. West Bengal, you're not winning. And they were telling me, Supriya, believe me, we are on the ground and we will cross 200. And I'm like, dream on, buddy. And they crossed 200.
So the dynamics in the opposition as a result of all of this have changed a bit, right? Because if you look back, it's been the narrative for the last 8 to 10 years that, in the entire India alliance, the Congress is the weak link. Regional parties are doing so well. You've got the NCP in Maharashtra, you've got Trinamool Congress in West Bengal, you've got the DMK, you've got Tejaswi in Bihar, Samajwadi Party hasn't lost just yet. We'd see what happens 3 months from now. But the regional parties were taking the opposition, keeping the opposition going. Seems to have turned around. The regional parties are the ones that have really given way right now.
No, regional parties have not done well, I must say that. But at the same time, you can't say that the opposition is completely a non-starter nor is India Alliance. Because if you realize in this bill, when they got the delimitation bill tied up with the women reservation bill, and that was the time the entire opposition absolutely fought that battle together and we won it. So the whole point is there are moments, you can't write us off completely. Actually, you should never write anybody off in politics. Nobody. I always say that even to my opponents. When somebody loses, I'm like, you never know in politics what can change when. So never write anybody off. I never write and I'm never condescending to anybody when they lose. So I don't think that it's impossible to get our house in order. If there's a will, there's a way, and we can get our house in order.
You're saying get the house in order, right?
We need to do
one of
it.
the first things that people say, you say never write anybody off. A lot of independent analysts, including those who are sympathetic to the opposition, are saying it might be time to write Rahul Gandhi off. You can see him continuing to be the leader of the Congress?
Of course, I mean, that's an internal issue of the Congress party, right? How can we tell, if they give us feedback about our party, are we going to take it? Clearly not. Can I tell you who to make the editor of your channel or your YouTube channel or whatever you are running? No way. So I don't think it's our business at all. And just because somebody wins an election doesn't make you the best leader, and just because somebody loses an election doesn't make you the worst leader. So if
So you and other members of the rest of the broader opposition do not have a view on what the Congress party should do. Should it be Rahul? Should it be Priyanka? Should it be somebody else?
It's not our business. It's not our agenda. We have a larger common agenda with the Congress. Who leads the Congress is an internal issue of the Congress. But at the same time, let me tell you one thing. For everybody who speaks against Rahul Gandhi, he doesn't need me strong enough to defend himself. He doesn't need me to defend him. But I'll tell you one thing. Everything that he says, 6 months later comes true. And again, I'm saying, let's go data-driven. Be it the economy. And fortunately, one very, very good quality he has as a leader, he never makes it personal. So what I like is there's always dignity, there's a very fine line which he never crosses. He never gets personal with anybody in parliament or in any public speeches. What happens is, whatever he says at that moment, people says, no, ye to nahi hoga. And true enough, 6 months later it happens.
Right, so when the opposition is right now, because you're saying let's get the act together, opposition's going to be meeting, discussing, introspecting for the end of the time, what are the sort of things that you're going to be telling them?
Of course, we have to focus on the economical crisis in India. As a matter of fact, for the last 2-3 months, I've myself asked the Honorable Prime Minister to call for an all-party meeting, and we expect him to lead it. Because if you remember, when Pahalgam attack happened and Operation Sindoor happened, ours was the first party. Sharad Pawar was the first leader in India to say that we've had an attack on India in Pahalgam. This is not time to criticize each other. The country must stand together. And we had an all-party meeting, and I must reiterate this because I've said this many, many times. Congress party was represented in that meeting by Khadge ji and Rahul ji, and both of them echoed the same sentiment and said, this is no time to, get into tu main business. We are with the government, and let's go all out for the national interest of India.
So this is the part which is the opposition being a constructive,
absolutely,
absolutely, in a crisis. You played a major role after Operation Sindoor personally, right? You were one of the people who was out there talking, explaining India's position. It was a moment of unity. So you're saying we are again at a crisis, so that has to be done.
Yeah, because see, elections will come and go. If the country collapses economically, you know how hard it is to rebuild it, considering the world is so fragile right now. So I think sometimes we need to grow out of this small, petty politics, which I've never heard. See, I was in power the time we had opposition leaders like Sushma ji and Arun ji. So we've seen them, and we grew up like, oh my God, this is just fantastic. I mean, even if you're in the Congress, their speeches were so convincing. I mean, of course, Modi ji was a very big role in bringing the NDA to power, but you cannot ever. The contribution that Parliament made by Sushma ji, Arun ji, and several leaders by the BJP, Prakash Javadekar ji, Nirmala ji as spokespersons, how many of them? Nalin Kohli, one of the finest spokespersons BJP's had. I mean, they used to criticize us all the time. But they were wonderful, they were extraordinarily dignified. All these 5 names that, and many, many more. I'm just giving you a few names.
There's a certain perception that has changed in politics. What you're describing is a bygone era, just as the world of television news has changed, irreversibly, and it's a different sort of a system. What you're describing, is that the way it normally is, or is it far more adversarial, knife in the hand? what you refer to as the ice of Indian politics? Is it a far tougher world out there? Or is there still that room for gentility and affection and mutual respect?
Look, society reflects everywhere, in all parts, in all professions. But you can't write everything off at one go for the reason that please understand there have been occasions. Look, let's turn back the clock. Like you said, let's start at 2014. What happened? After that, we had Arunji, Sushma ji, and many, many others. Then came 2019, the story changed. Then the ice happened. Then again, still even after that, 2024 happened with Savidhan Khatre Mein. After that came Operation Pahalgam attack. And came Operation Sindoor, where many of us who are in the opposition led delegations and defended the Modi government. And 10 days, it was not like one meeting frivolous here and there, not at all. We all were sent out for 10 days each. And we defended the government.
The reason I'm asking about that era of gentility, because I sometimes feel as if I miss it, right? You'll have a situation where you and others will attend, Naveen Jindal, he's a friend of yours, you attend the wedding out there, you'll have people criticizing that why are they there. You'll go and invite the Prime Minister for your daughter's wedding and people will say, will say, why is this happening? If he comes, there may be questions asked, who knows? Is this the way it should be?
Not at all. See, in Maharashtra, we are far more liberal about these things, and it's traditionally been like that in my state. This is not something new to my state. And the entire credit goes to Y.B. Chavan, our first Chief Minister of Maharashtra. And he made sure that there was always bohemy, little bit of, good relationships, a little bit of banter, and that banter is a lot of fun. So I think it was always, if you see all his speeches or the opposition at that time, there was always a fabulous banter, but after that, they had a lot of personal relationships. It's like the Thakres and the Pawars. We have fought each other bitterly again and again and again. I think in Maharashtra, Mr. Pawar's biggest critic was Balasaheb Thakre, and Balasaheb's biggest critic was Sharad Pawar. But their friendship is, people even today talk about it. And the wives very friendly, children very friendly, and they were playing their own. There was never compromise. Nobody ever says that there was a compromise ever. So I think that's the beauty of a fine democracy, where you can see, just because, say, you like a grey shirt and I don't like that color, that doesn't make us enemies. I know, I'm just saying it's been a coincidence.
It's matching actually.
Yeah, but my point is that doesn't make us enemies, right? If we are, I think what has happened is politics has become very personal. There was a time we only fought on policy. We were not getting into our homes, into our personal lives, I never do that. I'm very clear that anybody, however far they would go into my personal life, I would never say a word.
Well, I'm sure you're going to be hearing a lot more of that in June. Your daughter's marrying a BJP leader's party, or somebody is going to be from the BJP. I know he was also asked this question, and he says that this is family, this is relationship.
What are the children getting married got to do with our ideologies? These are personal ideologies. And the best part is, I used to joke when Ajit Pawar was still around. I used to tease him and say, you have gone and made up with BJP, but I have more friends in the BJP than you do. They may votally stand with you, but if push comes to shove, they will stand by me when it's an emotional issue. Because I think we all that, and I as many times joke about the 2009 batch. We were the last few batches which still have so many friends across party lines. We still meet, we go on holidays together. That doesn't mean we are compromised at all. They come, we go to each other's constituencies, we go after each other, but we never make personal comments, ever.
That for you personally, of course, Ajit Dada, everything which has happened with him would have been a very major, because then suddenly political, having been together all your life, you're now suddenly political rivals, if not enemies. Has that been one of the most difficult things you've had to deal with?
Yes, of course. It's a fact, when you work together, you've grown up together, you're born in front of a person, and then suddenly this happens. But I guess there are situations, and life circumstances teach each one of us. So you learn to deal with it. And everybody has reasons to do it. Now, what they are, it's not my business to talk about, because he's not even here to defend himself. So I would never talk about it anymore. But I just feel that, yes, it was challenging, I would say. And in public life, the way you learn to take the good, you have to learn to take the bad as well. So put your chin up and keep going.
So, with months having been passed now, you keep messaging. I think put it out on social media saying, Ajit, that I miss you. Which I'm sure the entire family is still
Of course.
shocked by that death. How are things in the NCP now? Are there some signs of coming together?
It's very difficult because things were different when he was around, and he was also, after whatever we went through, there were overtures, there were discussions, there was dialogue. Now, after his unfortunate death, a lot of them emotionally spoke about it, and a lot of people from that side denied it, that nothing like that happened. So we were also taken aback because they knew about it. So we were hurt and disappointed, and of course, emotionally, everybody was going through a lot. And now, suddenly, 4 months later, a lot of them are now saying from Ajit Pawar's camp that yes, there was a dialogue. Yes, we knew about it. I'm like, what happened to you? 4 months ago, you were saying we are all lying and nothing like that happened. So in 4 months, what happened? But these are all things I think at some point you can't be a prisoner of the past and the history. You need to move on in life.
Things can be repaired. I mean, look, between Uddhav and Raj Thackeray, they came together. It wasn't a very successful coming together, but they came together. And as you are saying, there's a lot of talk that as these BMC elections are happening, there are a lot of overtures coming from that camp to again come together. So you're saying that that is a possibility, something could happen?
No, I don't see it happening for the reason that when the overtures were happening, we had a direct dialogue with Ajit Pawar, and he was also keen on making it happen. So when he was very clear that he wanted it, then it becomes much easier. And after the kind of chaos that I see from there, whether they're saying yes and no and maybe, I think, what happens sometimes, it's like chewing gum. After a while, it loses its taste. So that's where I'm personally reached there. So I don't want to discuss it. I don't want to talk about it because I jokingly told somebody yesterday, it's like me going to Kanpur. Why would I check if there's a flight to Kanpur tomorrow? Because I don't want to go there. So it's as distant as that. That जहाँ जाना ही नहीं है उसके बारे में क्यों बात करना?
So let's come back to the center then, and looking at whatever is going to be happening now. When you are looking at the opposition at this very formidable, BJP, what do you think are the real things that you are fighting? Is it the policies? Is it the what you call the agencies? Is it the figure of Narendra Modi?
Well, listen, we have to be practical and realistic. A man has been the longest serving Prime Minister of India, and he has won election after election. So of course, that you can't say that, no, of course you have to say that yes, the people of India have shown faith in him, one. But at the same time, this is with a huge support. 2014 was his win, clearly. We have to accept it, that we messed up, he was right place, right time, and he gave hope to India. But elections after that, successively, I cannot give only credit to him. You have to give a lot of credit to the agencies as well. And another thing is that I'm not concerned or so alarmed by the policies because I don't see those policies very threatening for us as an opposition. Parties are broken for state after state after state. So if your power is just broken, talent taken over, it takes a little time to get your house in order and bring in new talent because there's no dearth of talent in this country. Let's not fool ourselves at all that any of us are indispensable. Nobody is indispensable in this world.
So the BJP and its supporters will say, well, these are great strategies. These are great, on-the-ground election machinery working. Amit Shah, for example, even after Bengal, would be credited by saying, okay, he's the Chanakya of Indian politics who's doing all of this. So is it great strategies and on-the-ground implementation done by Amit Shah and others like him, or is it...
See, this is saying in Hindi, Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar. So clearly, if they win, you have to give them the credit. But at the same time, how they won is also very important. Most chief ministers in many states in this country, I mean, you've been a very senior journalist who's probably interviewed every chief minister in office in the last 30, 40 years. But tell me honestly, I would like to quiz you and ask you, how many chief ministers do you really know? I mean, Bhajan Lal Sharma ji is sweet. All of us know because he was the first surprise. But really, how many people know every chief minister in this country like they used to do before. We used to look up to them and idolize, oh my God, larger than life personalities. I don't see that anymore. I mean, look at Naveen Babu. We all grew up looking up at to Naveen Babu and saying, oh my God, how does he do this, you know? And how many people know the Orissa CM? Have you met him? Do you know him?
I must confess, no. But then people will say, the flip side is people will say yes, because all of you have grown up in a Delhi elite
Absolutely.
circle, and therefore you're not connected with the grassroots, so you don't know grassroots leaders.
Okay, fair enough. Then in the early times of the Congress, who knew Sharad Pawar? He didn't come with a background like us. He was not elite. He came by, he's a village boy, did extraordinarily well. He's not. See, as I always joke with the Telangana Chief Minister, he'll always tease me. Revant Anna always teases me, Supriya, I am from open category, you are from management quota, which is a fact. I am from the management quota. But at the same time, don't forget, we became management quota because somebody came from zero and built something. We cannot forget. I cannot forget that ever. I admit it, that I am Parivarvad. I am a classic example of Parivarvad. But at the same time, it's the first foot in the door. I mean, imagine if I had to compare everything about my father to me, I think I'd cry buckets every day. Because for me, what he has done from zero is larger than life achievements for a man who came with no chacha, mama, tau, uncle, auntie supporting him, or mother or father being in politics. And there are so many other examples that I can give you all over India.
So that Parivarvad, that dynasty tag is always there. I mean, here in Maharashtra, it's still used about Uddhav Thackeray and about Raj Thackeray.
Yeah, but
how do you see them, by the way, now that we are in Maharashtra? Which of them has a better connect with the
Why only are you talking about us? What about the BJP? BJP is full of Parivarvad. Yeah. BJP today has more Parivarvad than Congress, because all the Congress veteran leaders' children are today in the BJP and all in decision making. I mean, my own constituency, every block, I have 9 blocks. All 9 blocks, the BJP leadership is ex-Congress dynasts. So, I mean, that's it. Now BJP doesn't talk about dynasty politics because they have more than the Congress now.
They use it for Rahul Gandhi, of course, the most, because, entitled, dynast, management quota, those are the sort of terms that I think they like to use around him. But that leadership question is something which is going to come up for the opposition at some point, because if you have to take on Narendra Modi, question is who against him. That's the way the BJP would always like to position the election, Narendra Modi versus whom, and there hasn't been a convincing answer from the opposition. 2024, you had a convincing issue. Constitution is in danger, which is why it worked. But otherwise, who against Modi?
When we had a larger than life Atal ji as the Chief Minister, as the Prime Minister of India, and you remember that's when UPA came. Manmohan Singh ji is one of the finest Prime Ministers India has ever had. People may disagree with me, this is my opinion. And he was not the face of our election at that time, and we won 2004. Everybody's in shock, like, oh my God, how did these people win? But we won. So never underestimate the voter of this country, point number 1. And bringing you back to Rahul Gandhi, they have, besides dynast, what else can they talk about Rahul Gandhi? Because he's not making money from contractors. They have never been able to, there's no corruption charge against him. Some old case, they keep riling it up. But they've been in power for 12 years. They've not been able to stick anything to him. So isn't that a big thing? That you have not, there is no corruption. It's unfortunately, this is something that really pains me in India. That corruption is institutionalized. And that really hurts me because I think everybody understands that there is some sense of it, but how far to go with it? Has it taken over the system is something and what are we doing to correct it?
Well, one of the questions will, I guess, be what are the issues that you have to put forward before the country, and maybe we'll turn our attention to that. But you just referred correctly to the fact that, Narendra Modi, longest serving elected Prime Minister now in the country. So it's a landmark moment. How would you assess him or rate him in this entire period?
First of all, I'm in no position to do either or. He is the Prime Minister of India. Doesn't matter which party he comes from. He is the Prime Minister. He has a record to his name now. Clearly, all leaders have some flaws, and clearly they become leaders because they have ticked several boxes. So I'm too smaller achiever to even rate a prime minister of any country. So I wouldn't dare do that. Not because it's the BJP. I would not even do it to anybody for that matter. But clearly, when he came into 2014, I must say I was very hopeful about him because he was talking about changing a complete system, cleaning up the system. And when I see all the people he spoke about or all the dreams and aspirations that he gave in 2014, they're all crumbled now because all the people he spoke against in my own state, I can give you a list of people. Right now, there's an English saying that he's in bed with them. That doesn't mean literally in bed, but you know what I mean. You see photographs with him. So I'm like, excuse me, you wanted to put them in jail and get, they're corrupt and you have allegations and you have documents and you have files. Then what happened to that? Some sense of morality. So I feel disappointed about that then either you made false allegations and destroyed lives if they are not corrupt. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that they're not corrupt. Look at Chhagan Bhujbal as an example. This was the same government, this was the same Devendra Fadnavis, this is the same Modi Sarkar which put Chhagan Bhujbal ji into jail. He was a 70-year-old man. I know how much he suffered because I followed that case very closely. There were times in jail, in court, I went with his family and I've very closely seen their family and even grandchildren suffer. Today he's in their cabinet. So 2 questions. If he wasn't corrupt, then why the hell did you put them in jail? So who is going to give him those 17 months back? And those children who are scarred for life, who is responsible? And if he is, I'm saying if he is corrupt, then how the hell? Then you've cheated me, no? As a citizen of India. So these are answers which they need to give.
So that's a major systemic question, I guess, that has to be answered. As you look at this, the 10th of June sort of landmark moment, there's very little doubting that Narendra Modi has sort of dominated the political landscape in a manner that very few prime ministers have, perhaps not even Jawaharlal Nehru to quite that extent. So that is something which you would have to give him credit for.
Of course you have to give. See, 12 years in office and with this kind of following, India and abroad, you have to accept it. You can't run away from the fact that, oh my God, I disagree with him on policies. But if somebody has a personal achievement, you can't run it down because data speaks louder than words.
So we've heard Rahul Gandhi, for example. I know I don't want to keep quoting him to you, but he just said he doesn't think Narendra Modi is going to be the prime minister even a year from now. What is your view? Do you think the BJP is going to go into the 2029 election with Narendra Modi very clearly as the face of the BJP?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see them going with anybody else's face. I mean, whose face would they put? So 29, clearly, there was so much speculation about 75, every channel, YouTube channel, newspaper, everybody talked about 75. It came and went, nobody even talked about it. It just went acknowledged, shoved under the carpet.
So 2029, definitely you feel Narendra Modi very much the face.
Clearly.
But already in circles, political circles, dinner table circles, the question is already starting, okay, at some stage when he decides to hang up his boots, who? Is that something which you've also turned your attention to, or you think
Not at all. I think India has too many challenges and issues to worry about right now. And rather than worrying about what they will do and who will lead, I think we should worry about how we are going to fight the next 29 election and what are the issues why we are fighting them. Okay. We have to have complete clarity in it.
Great. So let me shift into that. Let's assume that all the opposition leaders are sitting with you and saying, okay, Supriya ji, now let's sit and try and draw up a 5-point agenda by which you can actually revitalize the opposition, fix all of them, fix the issues of India also going along with it, because the two things sort of go together. What is your vision? What would you say?
And the first thing is what we need to do is fix our economy. For that, we have to get our house in order. All of us cannot fight each other. We have to fight as India Alliance. If somebody has to give up a seat, give it up. Work for the larger cause, one. We have to get our fiscal deficit in place. Because a lot of times I see money, it's a question I've asked many, many times in my budget speeches, and it's not appreciated by the government and I never get the answer. See, they collect cesses. and there are more and more cesses collected now. Now, where is this money going? It's always unaccountable, because is the education cess only being used for education? I don't see that impact on the field. So where is that money going? And the point is that government never gives straight answers. Then they will send money to the states for, say, SSA, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. That money is put into something else. That money is moved to another scheme called Ladli Bahin Yojana. This is not I'm telling you, this is not an allegation. This is what I'm telling you, which has come in the newspapers in Maharashtra. So if central government, first of all, is collecting too many cesses, because all our kind of states, which were equal partners in this devolution fund, are all losing out. Tamil Nadu, we, and so many other states. And if you remember, on the Honorable Prime Minister, when he was Chief Minister of Gujarat, he used to talk like us. Today he's changed a lot of his thinking about the central funds after he became the Prime Minister.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get this thing. So you're saying 5 points to fix India the country, or 5 points to fix India the alliance?
No, we need to work at both levels.
So let's first hear, what do you think the opposition should do? If the India
First,
alliance?
the opposition, clearly we need to meet more. We need to set our agenda absolutely clear. We cannot fight each other. We all have to row in the same direction, whether it's a state election.
Find a way of fighting together, of moving in the same boat.
Row in the same, not just sit in the boat. We have to row in the together in the same direction.
Okay, what are the chances that you'll be able to achieve that? Because right now you're still fighting each other a lot.
No, not at all. Look what happened in the bill. In this delimitation bill, we all sat in the boat together, we rowed together, and we won.
Okay, so one, find a way of rowing together.
Absolutely.
Number two?
And we have to come with a clear 10-point program to India. Why us?
Okay.
Explain to the government, explain to people, and please don't underestimate an intelligence of any Indian voter. They're far more intelligent than all of us from my fraternity. I cannot speak about yours, but they are very aware.
That's actually a very good point, because quite often when that Tina factor is spoken about, one of the things that the voters will be looking at, so your point number 2, which is that come up with a 10-point agenda, you have to say, it's one thing to say, oh, this is terrible, what's happening.
Yeah.
You have to have you can't just keep cribbing and saying, oh, this is terrible and we're going to do X. Now, nobody quite knows what the alternate is, and that's perhaps one of the biggest criticisms you can make about the opposition is, what are you complaining about? Is it, Ambani Adani? Is it something else? What are you complaining about?
See, we are now, the first most important thing is fixing the economy in this country, as well as our foreign policy. We have very strong views about our foreign policy, the way it's been going, about the economy of this country. We have very strong policies. Even about education, what has happened in the NEET is just shocking. The impact, huge impact of AI, which is going to affect in a good and a bad way both, in healthcare, education. When are we going to get into our social issues? Governance is not just about infrastructure. So you get out all your money from Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, moving it to infrastructure. You may have a road, but if you're not going to have a job, if you don't have education, you're not skilled. And what happened to all those missions? Stand Up India, Skill India, God knows how many Indias they made at that time. What happened to all those programs here?
So your point of the 10-point agenda, the reason I'm coming to that is all those issues are there, and obviously there is a certain amount of anger and there's a certain amount of disconnect, which is always, and it's going to be a tough period, right, with the Iran war and other things. But you have to have a cohesive alternate plan, because then you can say, well, this is what they're doing, this is what we would do with AI. This is what we would do with foreign policy. This is what we would do with the economy. And then let people compare it and say that it's a better idea or a worse idea. Otherwise, it's just random cribbing, which is a journalist's job, not necessarily somebody aspiring to be
I
the
would
leaders.
just like to sort of say that you said something called a disconnect. I don't think we are disconnected from the ground. I think what happens is many times we fight against each other. And that's where our votes get split. And of course, ICE has played a huge role in us. Our growth story is hampered not purely by ideology or by merit. It's agencies again and again, especially when it comes to my state. I see that happening again. It's like a formula which has really helped.
So that's the something which you keep on, you've referred to again and again.
Because I have
You
so much
genuinely
data.
believe, so you genuinely believe that it's not a level playing field. You're saying that
Of course
the
it's not.
agencies are
Of course
systematically
it's
being
not,
used.
because I have data to prove it. It's not something that I'm just going through. I'll give you how many examples that I can give you. So many people just now in this cabinet who've had ED, CBI raids. I have fought for them because ED has reached their house. I have reached their house. And today they are in the BJP or an ally in the BJP. And I can name them, I can give you data. There is so much of all this. So if everybody is just going to surrender, then how will the
This
system
issue
work?
did play a role in 2024 also. You'd be surprised to know that when I was on the road roaming around, not just in Maharashtra but elsewhere, frequently you did hear the common person in chai ki dukans and on the village square talking about this and saying, oh, this misuse is not good, this ice factor is not a very is not good. So I don't think the people of the country necessarily like it. It's politically maybe very effective, but it's not that the people of the country may not like it. So that's one of the things you're saying that you should talk about. And
Oh, yeah, of course
highlight.
we should talk about it. But and the same thing, large infrastructure is not only the solution. I mean, of course, infrastructure has to improve. There's no doubt in my mind. But what are we doing for main issues like education, skill? Look what happened in the NEET. I cannot believe in a country like ours with so much technology. For a country under the leadership of Prime Minister Manmohan Singh ji, the Aadhaar card is one of our biggest success stories. And then there was this big Jan Dhan movement, which was actually started under Chidambaram ji's leadership. And of course, they said, in har ghar mein Jan Dhan hoga. What happened to those Jan Dhan accounts? What happened to demonetization? What happened to the black money? And I think what has happened, unfortunately, is we get into this blaming game. And then when they see the opposition weakening or compromising or ice happening, then even the voter sort of takes a step back. And I sometimes feel that even we should take a step back and see what is the voter thinking. What if I was only a voter and not a part of the fraternity? I'm like, what's going on?
So what do you make of the sort of new things that suddenly pop up and bubble up, which capitalize in some of that anger, including on the issues you were talking about, like the cockroach Janta Party, which is suddenly emerged out of nowhere.
I'm not sure what exactly the cockroach party is. I think it's something good, because in a democracy, why should somebody not have an opinion? And if people want to join it, I find nothing wrong in it. But are we now going to be scared and keep our voices low and soft and talk in murmurs out of fear and not fight the system? Or are you willing to pay any price and still fight the system and live in hope that one day it's going to dent and expose this game? Is something that each one has to decide for themselves. I can decide for myself. I can't decide for everybody else. So I know where I'm standing and where I choose to be 5 years, 10 years from now. But that doesn't mean it's right or wrong, because everybody has a lot of other issues going on amongst them. But do I feel BJP is invincible? I don't. Because I see so many of my Congress friends in the BJP. And why the country? Look at my own district, my own constituency. So my whole point is, if you thought Congress eventually destroyed itself, in Congress in the sense us, I would put myself, I'm not talking about Congress itself, even NCP Congress, all of us together, there will be a turning and a tipping point even for the BJP, because it's the same 200, 500 people and the same families which are on this side or on that side. What changed?
Well, the last thing I'm going to touch upon is that you and the other members of the opposition quite often talk about things like SIR and vote chori, and that becomes in many ways the dominant theme of what the opposition is saying, that look, we are being systematically, elections are being stolen from us. Is that going to continue to be one of the major themes that you're saying, or are people going to say at some point say, but every time you lose elections, these are just excuses that are being made?
No, listen, I don't blame anybody but myself. But at the same time, if I'm giving an exam, should it not be fair and just? And all we are saying to the Election Commission is just be fair. And if we are making allegations, prove it that we are wrong. Don't shove things under the carpet. Look at my own case with the Election Commission. I was one of those, as I told you earlier, I'm one of those idealistic who romances idealism. So I always thought that doesn't matter. I mean, how much can power push an Election Commission to do something? I know my case in the Election Commission. How can you throw a man out who created the party, who's the head of the party. The constitution, what does the constitution of the NCP say? That who is the main person is Sharad Pawar as the founder member, and who has the party supported? The constitution said all the people in the organization. The whole organization stood by Sharad Pawar. And then the working president removed him with his signature. The working president doesn't have a right in the constitution. So how can elected representatives and a working president, which is a post which does not exist in the NCP constitution, remove the head of the party? How's that? How did it happen? I mean, there's a limit to injustice.
All right. So,
And
finally,
that's why we are in court.
Yeah.
We will fight it.
Yeah, it's still there. It's still there. Let's see where that goes. So finally, that blank sheet of paper, 5 quick points. If I had to ask you to summarize, which you can tell your colleagues when you meet them right now, they look, why don't we do the following 5 things as a step to get the opposition back on track? What would those 5 things be?
First is we all have to row in the same
boat, you
direction.
mentioned it.
Absolutely in the same direction.
Fine. Have a 10-point
We have
agenda.
to absolutely have an agenda of why us and not them.
Fine.
We have to go all out to the people, listen to them why we are rejected. So is it SIR? Is it, and not just go by surveys, go ourselves on the ground and say, okay, what has gone wrong? Because I don't see anything right, to be honest. Look at our onion crisis that are going on. And we have to approach and get new talent. We cannot wait for these same 200, 300, 500 families which are rotating from Panja to Kamal to Panja to Kamal. No.
Find new talent.
It's time we have to go on the field and go and listen and talk to India. That, okay, what? It is like that Bharat Jodo Yatra.
Yeah.
You know, go sit in every village. It's like what Chandrasekhar ji did. He walked from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, all the way to Delhi.
Okay, that's point number 4.
We have to go, and we all have to go together in one, and we need to fix solutions for this economy of this country. And we have to get experts on board. Why can't we have experts to guide us? No one political party or their spokesperson knows everything.
And the last point, the face, you think it's not necessary?
I don't think that, I don't see that face thing such a big issue because we have had experience in this country that faces have lost and faces have won. So I'm not so
And
sure.
besides, you'll find it tough to get a face who can actually, face elections, face versus Narendra Modi, you have trouble.
But look at Didi's case. There was Didi versus we never thought. I personally thought. This was my personal view that it's Didi versus nobody. It was Stalin versus nobody. It happened, right? And we've seen veterans in this country lose. They lost even their personal elections. I'm like, I really want to study that model just as a student of politics. That how can a chief minister of Maharashtra, saying a chief minister of West Bengal or Tamil Nadu even lose their personal election when we are thinking the wave is in that direction? So, what went wrong?
All right.
What was it the connect? What is the thinking? Were we unaware? What data was saying something else? Surveys were saying something else. Journalists were saying something else. So what went wrong?
Well, Supriya Sule, then finally as we end this, right now it is, if anybody was to look at India, you'd say it's nearly a one-party state. The BJP is so powerful, it's so dominant, it's so strong, very tough for it to be electorally challenged. As a leading light of the opposition, do you think that situation can change in the next 2 or 3 years, or will it take a long time?
Of course. Why long time? You never know one. And first of all, if we believe in something, why would we not fight it? I see the challenges. Why do I always mention Pahalgam when I talk about Operation Sindoor? I defended it. I defended my country. I defended my Prime Minister. And he was my Prime Minister. He was not BJP's Prime Minister. I'm an Indian first. But don't forget, Operation Sindoor happened because the Pahalgam attack happened. Let's not forget that. And today, whether anybody likes it or not, India's economy, you can blame the world, you can blame anybody you want. You can blame Bloomberg report is not true, it's some American thing. These are all things. Then why has government not come out and said the Bloomberg report is fake? There's so much happening.
All right, fix the economy is your...
Yes, for me it is, clearly. Because the minute the economy gets fixed, everything else falls in place automatically.
All right. Thank you so much. Lovely talking to you.
Thank you.